Whoa, whoa, hey there, sport. You alright? Did you have a bad dream? What? Yeah. It's my mom. She's been pining to play a Silent Hill game in VR for years now. All she does is just stare out the window. I don't know, I gotta go home. Fix that. Oh, so you want to play the Silent Hill in VR, huh? Oh. She's a braver woman than I am. Yeah, I don't know about that. Silent Hill in VR? Yeah. Oh, hey, Mom. Alex, you're back. Yeah, you're still staring out the window at nothing? No. I'm playing Silent Hill in VR. Mom, what are you talking about? No, really. Download the files and the link in the descriptions. And you can play in VR too. Link in what description? What are you talking about? Yeah. All you gotta do is run the game. Then run Cheat Engine. Point Cheat Engine towards the game directory. Start the following scripts to get in first person. Then you're ready to play. In first person. Now if you want to play in VR, you gotta open Vorpx first. Go to Custom Profiles. Search DU1 G0 and look for Silent Hill Homecoming first person. Have that running in the background before all other processes. And you'll be playing it in VR just like me. Yeah. I think I'm gonna call a doctor, Mom. This is way beyond me. VRified Games.
Where's my squad? Are they here? Did they make it? Hey, talk to me. Say something. Oh, God. Oh, God! Hey, what are they doing? What's going on there? Hey, where are you taking me? No! Hey! No! Where am I? Hey, what is this place? Hey, where are you taking me? No! Where am I, man? Hey, wait. Where are you going? Don't leave me here!
What's up, Lil? Yeah. Yeah, I'm living dead talking head. Coming to you live with Daigo, VRified Games. How we doing, Daigo?
Hey Ed, how's it going?
Yeah, that's alright. So, tell me, what is it we are doing today, my man?
Well Ed, now I've done this to myself, it's my own fault, but the PlayStation Showcase was live a few days ago and I got myself hyped up because Silent Hill VR was patented and I somehow convinced myself, completely my own fault, that this game was going to be announced. And I was severely let down. Silent Hill VR was nowhere to be seen. So I spiraled into a crippling depression. And I thought, I really want to play Silent Hill in VR. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, there's Shattered Memories. You can play it on PPSSPP VR in first person. That's a relatively good experience. Now we've already covered that the superior version of that game was on the Wii. And using Dolphin VR, we could also get that in VR. However, that game has major issues with shaders. Now I have made some progress, well I've made a lot of progress, but it's still not ready for prime time. Although it's playable in sections, it's not playable start to finish and I'm just not happy about it just yet. More tweaking is needed. Silent Hill Origins, also playable in VR with PPSSPP VR in third person. Which is fine, but third person isn't going to cut it. Is it, Ed?
No, man.
No. So I thought, okay, it would be an absolute dream to get the original games into VR, and there are ways to do that with 3DOF, emulation, but 3DOF isn't going to cut it. No, I want the full experience. I want first person, I want 6 degrees of freedom. That's what I want. So, unfortunately, the Team Silent Eastern games are not a good fit right now. The Western games, however, more doable, as we've already discussed with Shattered Memories and Origins. So that leaves 2 others. That leaves Silent Hill Homecoming and Silent Hill Downpour. Now, unfortunately, Downpour was never released on PC. Never released. Console only. Now again, using emulation, we could get that into 3D on a VR headset with like, say, Reshade or something like that. But nah, I wouldn't do it. So that leaves only one candidate, the divisive, and rightly so, Silent Hill Homecoming. Now, why is this so divisive? Well, okay, put it this way. If you're a die-hard fan of the original Silent Hill games, among the fandom there is a deep respect for the lore, for the history, for the canon. There is a deep, deep respect for it. Now, the Western games kind of put their own spin on things a little bit. Their interpretation is slightly off, and they seem to, perhaps, I was going to say unintentionally, but perhaps intentionally.
Josh, is that you?
Remake Silent Hill 2. Like, if you look at the Western games, Silent Hill Origins, Homecoming, and Downpour, these games share way too much similarities with Silent Hill 2. Now, the reason being, Silent Hill 2 is not connected to the main storyline of Silent Hill 1 and 3. It's more of a standalone, just set in that same town, and it's psychological horror. And it does work, and it's great, it's fantastic. It's actually my favourite game in the series, and it's a lot of people's favourites also. But when it came to the Western teams, I guess it was their favourite game as well, because they almost flat out ignored the lore in Silent Hill 1, 3, and to a lesser extent 4. Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. 4 wasn't even supposed to be a Silent Hill game originally, but anyway, we might revisit that at some point. So, starting with Silent Hill Origins and moving on up, yeah, there was a very strong emphasis on the psychological horror, this sort of town being used as a kind of a purgatory, punishing you for your past sins, past transgressions, the player character trying to come to terms with what they have done, or this kind of thing. And yeah, they may as well all be cardboard cutouts of James Sunderland. So you had your Silent Hill Origins, which did have ties to the original game. It was a prequel, but it messed with the lore in certain ways that made people unhappy, which I guess it was always going to do, because fans of the Team Silent works, they felt a bit let down by this origin story for the town and everything. And that was followed up by Silent Hill Homecoming that we're going to look at today, which was basically the console big brother of Silent Hill Origins. There's even a nod to Silent Hill Origins in Silent Hill Homecoming. That being the person responsible for bringing the protagonist to the town is in fact Travis, the protagonist of Silent Hill Origins. He's never mentioned by name, but yeah, it's him. And Silent Hill Homecoming seemed to be the nail in the coffin for the Silent Hill series. It just seemed to destroy it. It would have been revived to great effect with Silent Hill Shattered Memories itself being a reimagining, not a remake. It's not really fair to say remake, but a reimagining of the first Silent Hill. And then again, that was followed up by Downpour, a direct sequel to the original series, which effectively did put a nail in the coffin for many, many years. Now, it's... I'm making it sound like I hate the Western games. I don't. I did say it was divisive, and it is divisive, but I happen to like pretty much the entire series. Yes, there are games with flaws. Yes, that's true. However, there is a lot to like in these games also. For instance, Silent Hill Homecoming, the game we're looking at today, supported real-time damage to the enemies. So, depending on where you struck an enemy, they would be damaged in that area. So that was kind of cool. The boss battles are amazing. They seem to be like something out of Ocarina of Time, like these giant bosses. There is a set way to beat them, and you have to kind of figure it out, form a strategy. Really enjoyed that. Now this is quite controversial, but the combat. You see, the idea behind the original Silent Hill games is the protagonist is an everyman. Okay, he's not supposed to be a green beret, not supposed to be a superhero, not supposed to be an action man, just supposed to be a normal person that happens to be stuck in this situation. So while the developers of Silent Hill Homecoming were very public in saying the combat in the original Silent Hill games was terrible, well, that was the first nail in their coffin because they pissed off the fans. The combat was done that way intentionally. Yes, maybe it was a limitation of the consoles at the time, but they made use of it very effectively in survival horror. You're not supposed to be this expert marksman, you're not supposed to be this javelin thrower, you're not supposed to be anything, just a guy. So, how would you deal with the situation? That's pretty much what the original Silent Hill games were. But there was a story explanation for why Alex Shepard is more proficient with weaponry. And there's a twist later on in the game that kind of negates all of that, and it doesn't make any sense anymore. But as you're playing through the game, you, Alex Shepard, are a combat veteran, you're a soldier, so you have combat experience, you know how to handle weapons. Now again, there's a twist later on that makes you kind of go, but do you? But do you really? But anyway, that was the explanation for the combat system. Now a lot of people didn't like it, they felt it was too much of a deviation from Silent Hill, and it is. It's a huge deviation, but I kind of like it. Once you get used to the dodge, roll and attack system, it's actually quite satisfying. I think a lot of people just didn't give it a chance. Didn't give it a fair chance because they were kind of miffed at what the devs were saying. And I can't blame them. If, you know, you're a huge fan of something, and as the old saying goes, if it's not broken, why fix it? Well, it wasn't broken and they fixed it. So I can understand from an Uber fan's perspective how blasphemous that must have been. But I liked it. So, Silent Hill Homecoming also, as I previously mentioned, is essentially Silent Hill 2 with a new coat of paint. Essentially it is. Now yes, there are key differences in the story, but basically you're a protagonist who's done something wrong and has to kind of open up to it and face it head on and deal with it. It's the same exact plot. But they took elements from a certain genre of film, like Jacob's Ladder, these kind of things. Very much evident. To great effect, but it's also obvious. Like, they've lifted scenes almost directly from Jacob's Ladder. Like, there's one scene in Jacob's Ladder where he's on a hospital gurney and he's wheeled through this nightmarish hospital looking at all this crazy imagery. That scene almost scene for scene is the opening section of Silent Hill Homecoming. It is almost identical to Jacob's Ladder. And, you know, the similarities don't stop there. So the influences are very much worn on their sleeves here. Absolutely. So yeah, I've gone over the deviations from the core Silent Hill games. I've gone over what fans did not like. I've gone over what I've actually liked, it being the combat system. So yeah, this is essentially the only option available to me for Silent Hill in VR that I haven't already played on PPSSPP VR and that I'm still working on for Dolphin VR. So, what changes have we made in order to get this into VR? Well, first and foremost, we've changed the camera perspective from an over-the-shoulder third person to an honest-to-God first-person perspective. Now, we've used Cheat Engine to do this, and one of the side effects is once you enable this, the Alex Shepard player model becomes invisible. Now, that is to stop clipping through the game, like you don't want to be walking down and then suddenly see your head coming into view, this kind of thing. So your player model is completely invisible, but that just helps with the immersion, in my opinion. Now, you can toggle that off if you wish, but you are going to see your head popping in and out every so often. Unfortunately, you are also invisible in the cutscenes. So, you might find it weird that there's this disembodied voice talking to characters who are staring at nothing, but you know, again, you can toggle it. It's no big deal. In my opinion, no big deal. So that is what we've done for the first person, and you can play that flat screen if you wish. You don't have to even play it in VR. It's two separate programs that we're using. So Cheat Engine for that, and for VR we're using Vorpx. Now, could we use Reshade? Absolutely, but we're using Vorpx because I happen to like its Geometry 3D implementation. I think that's really, really good. 1,000,000 times better than playing a game flat, because not only do you get perfect 3D,
Josh, where are you going?
but you also get 6 degrees of freedom head tracking, which just sells that I'm in the environment. Taking the first person hack that we've already discussed, along with the custom Vorpx profile I've created, you can download that from the cloud if you wish. And just look for my username, DU1G0 on Vorpx, and you will find it. It'll be called Silent Hill First Person. So, doing all that, the game does in fact feel very different and actually very, very fresh. Yeah, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, but once you shift the perspective and get in VR, you see things that you would never have seen in third person. You don't notice these things if you're playing third person. But suddenly, everything is more real. There's a level of detail that you can't believe.
Josh, stop!
They've put into a third person game because you know nobody's going to notice it. So, it's kind of mind blowing. Now, is it without flaws? No. But nothing I do is. An issue that seems to have plagued every single Silent Hill title known to man is the flashlight. I don't know what this is, but getting Silent Hill games in any form of 3D, the flashlight seems to break everything. I don't know what the hell it is, and this game is no exception. So I recommend not playing with the flashlight on. Now you'll see in the video, sometimes we do turn the flashlight on. That's actually me just hitting the wrong button. But you will also see why it doesn't work. It just messes with the shadow shaders. They will form shadows within the light beam, and the shadows will remain in the light beam. It's the weirdest thing, so freaking strange. So just knock that thing off and just up the brightness. That's all I can say. The controls can also seem a little clunky. That's because sensitivity wise, there's not really much you can do. Your player character is always running. Now there is a toggle to make him walk, but it's not like analog where you can speed up and slow down the process. No, he's got 2 speeds, walk and run, and nothing in between. So that can be a little jarring for, say, modern players coming into this game. And in VR it's a little jarring that you don't speed up gradually and slow down gradually, but just 1 second you're running a marathon and the next you're like paraplegic. I don't know. So that's a little weird, but you know, once you're used to it, you're fine. Combat, I think, is great. You don't have a player model, but you do see the weapon. You're able to navigate where you are in terms of the enemy, because the camera has been altered in such a way that you're facing the enemy. Now, if you know the game in its third person perspective originally, the camera shifted to an almost a side-on view rather than an over-the-shoulder view for the combat sequences. This does not happen anymore. The camera remains fixed in a first person perspective. Well, I say in the first person perspective. It's slightly behind the player model when you're in combat, but the player model is invisible, so it's as good as first person, if that makes sense. So it's really easy to judge when the attacks are coming and to dodge and to counter-attack and all of that, and it's very satisfying. With Cheat Engine, it's not unheard of for games to crash. Now, during my testing, the game did crash once, and only once, and that was during a cutscene where you are trying to rescue your brother in the nightmare sequence at the beginning of the game. So hopefully I didn't give any spoilers away there, but it's like way at the beginning of the game. When you enter a keypad sequence and a door opens, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll actually see it in the video. Once you do that, the game crashed, and it only happened once, but it's something to be aware of. Now, there's not much more I can say about Silent Hill Homecoming that I haven't covered. It wouldn't be high on Silent Hill fans' list of favourites. I wouldn't say. But if you are a Silent Hill fan regardless, and you're looking for a first-person VR experience, I mean, this is pretty much it beyond outside of emulation. This is pretty much it. Like, if you're on PC VR and you don't have access to standalone, you can't play the PPSS PPVR versions. Well, sure, you can play the older PPSS PPVR PC build, but it's so old and so broken that it wouldn't really be worth it. Ultimate VR with PC VR is possible, but as I mentioned before, that game is severely broken at the moment. I am working on it. It will be playable. It's just not ready yet, and I don't know how long that's going to be. People keep asking me. So as of right now, you can download these programs if you own the game, and you can get it up and running in first person and in VR very, very easily. So I would implore you, if you are a Silent Hill fan, even if you didn't like Homecoming, give it a try. It might surprise you. You might end up still hating it though, but it might surprise you. Okay, so I guess we're going to leave it there. Like, comment and subscribe if you have any thoughts, feelings, any critiques, put them down below. If there are indeed any you'd like to put a comment down below and we'll get back to you presumably, and yeah, VRified Games out.
Yeah, VRified Games out of your mind. Think I'm gonna be playing this with you? Shit. Turn the lights on, motherfucker. Fuck all of this.
Joshua? Is that you?
I'm busy. Go away.
What are you doing here?
I want my toy.
How did you get here?
Someone brought me here. They told me Robbie was here. They lied.
Is there anything I can do?
Find Robbie. I want my toy.
I haven't seen any toys around here.
Guess you're not my friend.
Okay, I'll go see if I can find him. Vorpx.